in this position, black might try going back, believe it or not. And now I might have gone back. And it seems silly, but what have I lost? I repeated moves once. It happens all the time. And then I maybe find something else. I was thinking about taking this pawn, but I thought that this was not so clear, this endgame. Here, takes. My pawns get kind of broken up. Black gets a lot of activity, either with rook in, maybe rook d4, I don't know. Or maybe knight e5 is also possible. I just wasn't sure. Maybe this is okay for me, actually, but I don't know. It was a little tough for me to say, but okay, I was looking at it. I'm not saying I wouldn't have taken on d6, but here's the thing. If they play bishop d7, at least you can go back. You haven't lost anything, right? If they don't, and he didn't, now I can build my position even further. Switch move. When you play a move like knight a4, you usually have something specific in mind, right? You're not just going to build. Exactly. You have to be careful. If you put your knight on a4, you better have a follow-up. If you just play a4, then you feel kind of foolish, right? Yeah. And I think this move he missed, because here he got into a really deep think. Because again, he thought I was really focused on the d6 square. He didn't see that my idea was to sneak out to b4. And now black has a serious problem, because bishop a5 is coming, and b6 still runs into queen d4, and I just win this pawn. So again, ideas like this are very rare. You usually don't get to play them. But the reason why is because usually black has well-placed pieces. Black has pawn here, knight here, bishop here. Of course you're not going to be able to do this then. When your opponent has worse than normal pieces, when they're kind of stuffed, when their pieces are in the back rank, that's when you look for concrete ideas. Because often tactical ideas that normally don't work can work. And again, I'm not even sure that what I did was correct, but it ended up being justified a little bit, and the main reason is because black just has very poor pieces. So tactical ideas are more likely to work. So black played back. I went to b5, played f4. The reason I played f4, anyone know, I hated to yell at you after you played f4, but now that I played it, it's fine. Exactly. I thought that knight e5 to c6 was an easy way back. I didn't want that knight on g6 to get back. And you can't stop knight to b6. With d5, I take it, and all of a sudden this knight is pretty bad. Maybe black could think about sacrificing this game. First of all, I could take the knight, maybe, but probably I don't. But I highly doubt this is enough. Oops. I mean, my king's not quite open enough. Black's pieces are still good. Probably not worth it. Maybe I play knight c4 now, covering all the squares. I don't know. I don't really believe in black. But it's something I had to consider. But black played here. So, yeah. And you'll notice this about, like, when people have really tough positions, they're forced to play ugly moves. And at least psychologically, even if ugly moves are the best, it's hard for us to play. We don't want to play moves like this, but sometimes it's necessary. So knight b6, knight f8. But I thought a long time here, and I couldn't really find a way to punish black. Black's going to play knight d7 next. I wasn't really sure what to do. It looks like I made huge progress, right? I sunk a knight into b6. How could that possibly be bad? But the problem is that, well, what do I do afterwards? What happens when black puts the knight on d7? Do I want to trade pieces? Why not? Exactly. But I almost have to. Otherwise, I end up just backtracking with all my guys. So I chose king h1. I don't know if king h1 is the most precise. Maybe I should just launch. But okay, I chose king h1. I'm glad I actually played the move on the stream that I said this time. It would be embarrassing if I forgot everything. But 7. And I made a really difficult decision. I'm not convinced it's a bad one, but it was very difficult. What do I do? It looks very anti-position. Let me give you that. And I'm still not sure it's you. Computer, I recall, does not like it, but that doesn't always convince me in positions like this. F5 is definitely anti-position. You got that marked down. But I'm not sure it does much. But you're allowing knight e5, you're allowing bishop g5, it's probably too much. But I'm never ever going to take it, so. Yeah. I'm taking the worst piece on the planet. But there's a method to my madness. Why am I taking that? Actually, F5 can come into play, but it comes into play way, way, way later. It's more to do with how is black ever, and I do mean ever, gonna get counterplay now. Black's only source of counterplay in these types of hedgehog positions are what two moves? D5 or D5. Good luck playing D5 without a bishop, buddy. And that's kind of my idea. It seems silly because, like, what is black going to do anyway? And again, I'm not totally sure this is the right decision. But this was kind of my thinking that, okay, I take the bishop, I get rid of black's piece, but how is black ever going to get true counterplay? If black ever opens the position, opens the light with B5 or D5, I'm pretty happy. I have my two bishops. This is something with, like, the problem is when we're young, we get the bad bishop drilled in so bad. Or when we first start out, we're like, all these positions, you have a terrible bishop, you never ever take the bad bishop. But close positions and positional stress is a lot more nuanced. There are so many positions where you actually do want to take the bad bishop because in the future, they're going to want that bishop. How many times do you see, like, you take a bad French bishop on c8, and all of a sudden e6 is super defended? It happens all the time. So there are many moments where getting rid of a bad bishop is not as bad as you think. I don't know if this is exactly one of these situations, but I can tell you that not having the two bishops, or rather having the two bishops for me, was a really nice thing later in the game. So I played d2. Again, I'm not sure about the precision of these moves, but I was just trying to maneuver my pieces a little bit. Black played bishop f8. I played back, because my bishop no longer is useful on a5. I pinned the knight. Congratulations to me, but not really doing a whole lot. I remember I really wanted to set up knight d5, but I could never get it to work because black can always play b6 on me. So it goes. I play back, black plays knight c5, I play queen c2. So why am I going to c2? Yeah. I want to play b4, and so I'm fixing my queen. That's the nice thing when you have kind of a positional edge that's not going anywhere. You can take your time. You can move back and forth. I wanted, my idea, by the way, was to advance on the queen side, to push my queen side pawns. And my general thinking was that without that bishop, he's going to have a hard time stopping this plan and creating counter. So black played queen b8, I played b4, I played a4. And this is that moment where, and you always come to this, no matter how strong your opponent is, when they're playing a passive position, they're defending, there's always one moment where they lash out incorrectly. They don't like to be passive. No one likes to just sit there. I don't care how solid a opponent you're playing. No one likes to just sit there. And the thing is, you shouldn't ever sit there the whole game, and most players know that. If you sit the whole game, eventually your opponent's going to beat you. But there are positions where you have to at least be patient. And in this position, black should really not try to do it. One interesting idea was maybe trying a5. Looks a little strange, but the idea would be that now you at least secure this square. I don't know if this is actually that good for black, but okay, black's in the game, right? And part of it also was, I was fairly sure he was going to play d5 here. Sometimes you can see it in their eyes. You just know. He hated leaving his pieces, so bam, he played it very quickly. He didn't have tons of time either. I can say I had tons. Like, this position, as nice as it looks, was actually difficult to play because all my pieces look so good, you have to figure out what to do with them, right? Sometimes those are the toughest ones to play. But why was I happy to see d5? He's trying to get counterplay. He's breaking a little bit. What is the problem with the move b5? It's kind of hard to do that. Very simple. Now, when I look at things like this, you have to realize the pawn on a5, I'm not going to clean that guy anytime soon. But it's kind of like a reserve, like you save it for later. You know, leftover piece of cake, you put it in the fridge, you can get it anytime you want. But the whole point is that it's something that's always there. It's always an advantage I'm going to have. Now, if I'm careless and allow black to, say, play knight a6 and get d4 as a weakness, which is definitely something that can happen, then maybe it'll backfire. But the whole point is that you kind of give yourself something for later. And that's part of what strong positional chess is. You kind of collect advantages little by little. So I have the two bishops. That was one advantage I collected, right? The next one is this passed pawn on a5. So the more of these little advantages I collect, the harder it's going to be for black to hold the position down. Not one of those things is not going to be fatal by itself, right? You usually need more than one advantage to win a game. But you collect, all right, passed a pawn. You collect, all right, two bishops. You don't have your light square bishop. You collect and you collect, and eventually the pressure just increases. And you'll see how this happens. So black played knight a6. And that'll be my guess, that black thought, okay, I have b4, the knight blocked the pawn anyway. But my thinking was a little different. It was just that, okay, I have a passed a pawn now. Your b pawn might become weak later. You know? But mostly it's just, I have this for later in the game. You now have this pawn to worry about. You can't just abandon it. Now, I do have to worry about d5, but the nice thing for d5, of course, I do have it well covered, right? It opens up my bishop, so black has to check. So I played queen b2, not wanting to allow it. Black played rook c8. And I don't know, here maybe I played a little too simplistic. I decided that the actual simplest way for me to try to convert this advantage was actually to trade off the rooks. I thought that if I trade off all the rooks, black's going to have a harder time holding down the queen side. That was my thinking. Again, I'm not sure it's correct. This was maybe a position where I could have tried something else. Maybe I could have played, I don't know, even just like h3, king h2, improving my king. I had lots of different options. But again, I decided on this. I wasn't black played h6, so I continue with my idea. Okay. Play rook c1. Again, maybe not the best choice. Yeah, so black played knight e8. If ever there was a time to try d5. Now, after takes, I think that I end up in a better endgame. So yeah, the problem here was that f7 is quite weak, right? Not to mention h6. Black looks like here, for instance. Pretty sure I can take, play a6, and between these two weaknesses, I'm going to play this black. So you can see why the a-pawn comes in handy, right? That guy is really nasty right now. But this move was kind of clever. I think I may have missed this during the game. And I have to move back, because now if queen c6, I think the problem was this move. And somehow, I'm not coordinated. Kind of weird, right? I don't know. But I didn't see all this during the game. I will admit this quite clearly. And now you can take, and again, promising for white, but maybe not winning, you know? But hey, who says I'm even winning here? In any case, my opponent played backwards. I took and played here, very methodical. I don't even mind the endgame. I don't feel like my king's better than black's, right? And in the endgame, I can slowly push this pawn, bring my king to the center. I'm not saying the endgame, again, is a complete win, but the endgame is going to be really unpleasant between the two bishops, b5, and the pawn on a5. That was my thinking. Make sense? So black played here. I played h4. Again, just trying to improve my king a little bit. I don't like my king stuck without moves to go to, right? Black played knight c7. So what move do you think is coming? So here's my question. Should black be playing for d5? What is this question hinge on? Because these are the toughest moments to decide whether to play a move like d5 or not. For some players, probably for my opponent, it was automatic. I don't want to sit here forever. Of course I'm going to play d5. The same thinking that made him play b5. And do you think b5 was a good move? Probably not so much, right? So the question is he correct in thinking b5 is what he should be playing? But here's our question, and it was the same question with b5. Is it better to wait or to play d5? Waiting isn't always the worst strategy. How do you decide whether to wait or whether to push? Whether to try to create a mess, whether to try to just hold back? Yeah. It's one of the toughest decisions to make. But I think that unlike in the position where he plays d5, which kind of gives me a clear positional edge, I do not think d5 does it. d5 is a risky move in that you might lose a pawn. You might, open up my bishop a little bit. But you're creating a weakness on b4 that you can possibly attack. You're opening up the position, and keep in mind, white's king is not perfect. You might get counterplay against white king. I think that even though it didn't necessarily work out for him, playing for d5 was absolutely the right thing. Because if you sit here, I have so many improving moves. I can play queen d3, I can play king h2, I can improve my bishop, I can play for f5 than I did you had before, which now that certainly does not look stupid. If you give me unlimited moves here, I have a lot of improvements to play. And keep in mind, if I get in 4 improvements and then try to initiate complications, you might have a much harder time defending. So I think he was absolutely justified in his decision to play for d5 here. But notice how I don't think he should have played d5, because d5 simply gave me that passed pawn on a5. That's a concrete problem. So that's a good way to kind of figure it out. First of all, can my opponent do a lot if I do nothing? If the answer is yes, you probably shouldn't be doing anything. You should be giving them plenty of things. Ask yourself if time is a factor. Ask yourself, if I play this lasting out move, do they get a permanent weakness to work with? Do they get a permanent strength? Does it, what are the changes that happen in the game? It's one of the hardest things to do in chess. I mean, I'm sure if I were black in this position, I would made all sorts of bad decisions. It's just really, really difficult. But the key is you have to be very disciplined and pick your moments well. Is this the moment I lash out? Is this the moment I get counterplay? Or is this the moment I need to be patient? And the same goes when you're playing the offense. Is this a moment where I want to just be methodical, trade queens, get my queen on the c-file? Is this a moment where I should be playing quickly because my opponent's going to regroup? Is this a moment where my opponent has no improving moves and then you play slowly? So these are the ways you think about these positions, at least three. So I played queen d3, trying to keep a lid on d5. And black does indeed play d5. So the question is, how do you react to such a move? You think you're prepared for it, you're ready for it, but it comes. Quite possible. Q4 would have been a pretty good move, I think. I didn't play that, but I think it may have been a nice move. I ended up playing something else. I played knight here. I wanted the pawn defended by 2 pieces that my queen was free, essentially, was my thinking. I don't know if that was correct. I mean, queen d4 has a lot of merit to it. But yeah, if you try to take right away, the problem is now you're really opening up the position, but you're opening up your own king. So for example, I think the idea was actually just let me see if I got this right. Yeah, if you trade everything, it's going to be bad, but I think actually you could just take here, because this pawn's pinned as well, right? So it takes, and this is hanging, and I just wasn't sure. You have to be careful about your own king. It's a little messy. This is kind of an example of a line you don't want. But it's important you're prepared for d5, right? So I played here, which was my prepared move. Black played queen e8. So now what? Do I want to take d5? It is a pawn on the top. So if I play here, takes his knight, so now this guy's under heavy threat. Yeah, so I don't have to take this, but if I don't, then black certainly made progress, right? So if I take, queen comes to e2, I don't know. You could, I've seen it happen. You can end up worse in positions. I've certainly done it myself. And it looks, because you think I'm winning a pawn, it's important not to create a narrative for yourself. Like, I've been grinding my opponent out, and now I win a pawn. It makes perfect sense. Just to make sure that's your moment. If you take the pawn prematurely, allow queen e2, I mean, who knows, right? And again, just an example of something I don't want. But again, I don't think I have to be in a rush to take, right? So I could have played king h2, maybe, improving, but I chose a different improving move, bishop c2. Again, just trying to improve my pieces little by little. Again, I wasn't sure about this move, because sometimes if takes knight d5, I'm kind of putting it on free. I forget exactly what my idea was. I think because I'm threatening this pawn, I get a tempo, and I think I was going to use that tempo. But king h2 might have been a little wiser, I don't know. It ended up being a hit, but black played h6. So the question is now, how do I improve? I could play a move like king h3 still, but I was actually very happy with what I did. I saw h6 and I was happy to see it. So the question is, what approach can I take now? G4, that's a bit reckless. I mean, G4, now maybe takes, and here, I don't know, man. It's a lot of stuff loose. Some people are perfectly fine with all the pawns playing their king willy-nilly, I'm not one of those people. But I also think that it's objectively risky, and I'm not sure what you're accomplishing either. If you get in G5, G6, I could kind of be with you a bit. I don't know if it's going to happen for you. Maybe guessing. But I was thinking, this is one of the thoughts I had during this position. And again, I'm not saying these are all correct thoughts. Again, for me, these are complicated positions. I am not 100% sure of myself always. But one of my thoughts was that, you know what? I'm really annoyed that black's king is safe and mine is not. I would rather hope. Because, again, my main goal was, I felt like if I could trade queens, my winning chances would be really good. But it's kind of hard to force that if your opponent doesn't want to. So what I'd like is at least have my opponent's king be a little weak also. So how can I make it so that maybe my opponent's king H5 is possible, but you have to be very careful. Imagine you get hit by F5 at the wrong moment. And then this guy hangs, right? You got to be very careful. That's what I did. So what's the main idea? What's your threat?